Video game bang, video game bang, video game bang. Video game. Mega Brand. Live from the sack, it's the livest. In fact, I'm putting rhymes on this track to put my guys on the map. Updates, geek news, tech talk, and reviews. They can summarize it so you ain't gotta breeze through. Listen once and you're forever fans. And I'm not saying it because their theme song features Mega Ram, the ultimate source of all geek media. Other podcasts, they just don't match up. Need proof? You can check the archives and catch up. Stats off the chain, we have rearranged the game. It'll never be the same. Now it's time to feel the
bang. What is up, everybody? Video Game Bang is back, and I'm so excited because we're changing it up. We've been falling into a COVID groove of just, being just the normal cast of characters that you're used to week in and week out. Curtis, of course, running the ones and twos. Taylor, who's been coming up big the last few months for us, just helping out with smart things, things that normally we don't know, like teraflops. But we have a special guest this week, and it's one that's close to my heart. One of our very first guests of the show, has been on at least 5 or 6 different times. Every time, it's like we get a glimpse into her window of her life. When she first came, she had no children. And through our 5-year friendship growing together, she now has 2 beautiful kids, a full-blown career as a writer, in video games, books, movies, telenovelas. I'm sure she does everything. Genese Davis joins us back on the show. How you doing, Genese?
Hello. Well, after that introduction, I can never speak because I'm just all a blush.
Only for you. Only for you. It's like the words turn into poetry, and then it comes out of my mouth. I watched myself do that from outside my body. It was probably the best intro I've ever done.
My goodness. Are we in the Matrix right now?
I don't know.
Well, what pill did I take? Did I pick the wrong?
No, if you found yourself here, you definitely took the right pill. That's for sure.
Phew. Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Well, what's new from straight out the horse's mouth, out the gate? Because it's been so long. Catch us up to speed, because we didn't talk maybe about a year ago. And since then, planet Earth is a whole different place than it was. And you're always on some new project. So fill us in the gaps.
It's been one crazy year, right? 2020. What can we say? I thought it was going to be a really cool year. I love the number 2020, but man, it's been putting us through the ringer, hasn't it?
It's been a punch to the face. Like every day, it's something new.
I'm based in LA right now, and the skies are covered in smoke, and the sun all day looked red like a blood moon, like in Zelda. It was like Zelda. I thought things were going to come back to life and come to haunt me. But it's crazy. It's been a whirlwind for me as far as writing career goes. I was cranking all summer on Ari and the Secret of Seasons. So I hope that we can talk a little bit about that.
100%. It's video games. Our paths cross again because, the first time we met was because you had written a novel called The Gamer's Dominion, which was awesome.
Close, very close. Holder's Dominion, but it's about gaming.
Yeah. I totally read it 3 times too, and I completely messed up the title.
Well, the Holder in the book, he is the hacker that controls the MMO, and so it is like a game Dominion to him. So I mean, you got it.
See, that's because I read between the lines, and I think before that was the original title, but someone probably made you change it along the lines.
Exactly. Just like, remember, they almost made me change the name of Kaylee to Ken, and they almost made me change my name to. Remember, we had that whole discussion of gender, but we won't.
Do you
go
feel like
that.
it's different now, like because of all the growth of the industry since the first time we talked? Do you feel like?
Sorry, what did you say?
Remember, we had those conversations of like you walked into the boardroom and they tried to get you to change all these details to be more man friendly, and then it's been 5 years and tons of stuff has happened in the gaming space. More recently, the last 2-3 years. Do you feel like it's a different spot now? If you went and had that same meeting today, do you think you would have faced the same stuff?
No, I think it is changing. I really do. I really do. Because back when we talked, it was 2013, and I had shopped around the book back in 2010, and back then, wow, 10 years ago, it's crazy. The publishing industry, the entertainment industry, the public just kind of assumes like, wait, doesn't it make more sense to describe the main characters and all of the gaming scenarios and describe it all geared toward men, because isn't it mostly a men driven gaming industry? And that was before we had Wonder Woman on the big screen, and we had all these different we have all of the ratios now that have come in, right? Where it's like showing actually women are like 54% gamers. And like, so we have all the numbers now, and the perspective is definitely changing. So I think, like we said, if I had that meeting again, I think it would be different, because now I am getting pitched and talked to a lot about being able to put not only like a female hero on the screen, but can we do like a group of women on the screen and have like this whole Wonder Woman-esque phenomena. So I think it would be different.
So tell us about Ari and the story it took to get to that, because I believe you've been talking about this one for a while. What was the development on this one for you? At least a year.
Yeah, so the incredibly talented team based in Brussels, Exon Games, they are working with Maximum Games and Fishing Cactus and Modus Games, and they're an incredible group of people. And Sebastian Latouze, he is the founder, CEO, creator, designer, director of Ari and the Secret of Seasons.
Yeah.
Let's just list all the titles. And he's brilliant. It was amazing working with him and his team. And it's Ari and the Secret of Seasons has been in development for 3 years, and a really small team. I mean, the amount of work that we packed in. I mean, I came in in the later part, and so the amount of work that they put in beforehand was incredible. Being a team of 5 to 10 people, that was it.
Dang. Did you have full creative control over all the story elements, or did they, when they brought you in, did they say like, all right, you got to work within these boundaries, or did they just say, all right, we know who you are, we read the Holder's Dominion 6 times, because Cory only read it 3, so go wild. How did you get to spread your creative wings?
It's funny that you say that, because as a writer, you would the temptation is always to be like, wow, if the sky's the limit and I have no parameters, that would be the best, right? Yeah. But it's actually, it almost feels like the more parameters I'm given, and it's like a puzzle. It's like a puzzle game. It's like Tetris. It's like, how can I work around what's already locked, what we already have, the assets that we have, the budget, the timeline, the deadlines. I kind of thrive on that. Okay. It kind of gives you a goal and something to, it's like a challenge. And so it wasn't the latter, it was the earlier, where I was brought on board and I was asked, hey, we have these characters already set, the design of the characters are already set. We'd love your help on developing the backstory, who they are, what they sound like, what their passions are, their hobbies, their faults, their strengths. So I had a blast with that. But then they also wanted help with the development of the world. Like, how does Valdi exist? Why are the regions locked in a perpetual season, right? So the way this world is you go, you start out in Yule, which is a region perpetually in winter. Normally, it's just locked in winter for always. And Lamistide, for example, is locked in summer for always. You have these 4 regions, and then something happens in the world where the seasons get thrown in chaos, and they all turn opposite. So Yule, who it's normally in winter, gets thrown into summer. So I had the freedom to go, okay, why? Like, why do the seasons crystals exist, and why is the power there? And it was we didn't get a chance to put all that in the game, because it's, again, small team, small budget, deadlines, a lot of restrictions. Yeah. But we put in as much as we could, like we fit in as much as we could, and it was a blast working with Seb and developing the intricacies of how we could have this ancient history where, this discoverer, this explorer finds this crater, and there are these stones in there that have this weird gravitational pull that have pulled parts of all the seasons into this like tornado. So you can see like leaves and snow and rain. And so we established all of that. Couldn't fit it all in the game again, but but if there is a room for, you know, a sequel or a patch or a wiki that we can publish someday, then yes, then all will be revealed to the amount of depth that I brought to the table. But it was a balance. It was a cool balance of being able to have the freedom to bring depth to the quest and the characters and the storyline, but also a challenge to work within the restrictions that we had.
So tell us about Ari and just the broad 3,000 foot in the air looking down plot of the game.
Okay. So Ari is from Yule. She's the daughter of the Guardian of Winter. So her father, Gwen, he is the Guardian of Winter, and he has fallen into mourning because his son has gone missing and is presumed dead.
Wow,
so
you
it's
got
pretty
deep.
like
You got really heavy. Right
yeah.
out the I looked at the
All
art.
of a
I thought this
sudden-
was a kid's game, Genese. God.
You know what? We were voted best family-friendly game. So I know it starts out feeling very, wow, yes, very heavy. But it is a family-friendly game because, hey, we were nominated for that. So we're all good. But yes, it is. It was a lot to digest at first because it's like, okay, this amazing, 13-year-old girl is going through a lot. She's going through trying to cope with not knowing what happened to her brother. Her parents have tried to like shield her from knowing the details because they're afraid, obviously, of what to tell their young child and what to not. How do you even talk about death and grieving with someone young? It's difficult. I know, because like you mentioned, I have a 5-year-old.
Have you've had to do that already at 5? I'm terrified of that.
We lost our dog last summer.
No.
Yeah, and it was
I'm sorry.
his name is Striker, and he was a border collie mix that I have had for over a decade, and so he was my fur baby, right? He was like my son, and when she was born, she obviously fell in love with him immediately, and they were best pals growing up, and it was so hard trying to explain that he was in pain. He was struggling with a tumor on his pituitary gland in his brain, and he had, a lot of pain in his hips and kidney failure. So it was hard. The hardest thing was trying to explain that he wasn't at peace, right? And that we were trying to help him have a lasting moment of dignity and to really help him pass on into, let's call it the next life, right? Or whatever we could call it. And to her, it was like, okay, I don't want him to be in pain anymore, but I don't want to say goodbye. So I think that was the hardest thing, is just trying to describe that we're trying to do the right thing for him, even though it's hard for us.
I can tell you're already feeling it. Is that where you, and it's that crazy deep life experience that I'm sure lets you channel that energy into something like Ari and make you think about things and, channel different emotions. That's
for sure.
That's crazy.
For sure. I think when we try not to close ourselves off when pain and trauma or abuse or grief hits us, it can help us help someone else through it. I think you're right. But I think the most beautiful thing about it was that the next day when I was really having a hard time and I, was really grieving, her name's Cora, and Cora was so selfless. It was so amazing to see in a child say, "Mama, I'll pretend to be Striker for you."
Oh no.
So it was I think it was really beautiful to see her try to help me get through it and, pretend to be Striker. It was really beautiful. So it was something like I got to learn through her, like how to keep his spirit in our lives and how to keep us together and as a family. So it like you said, it's through hard times you can also find life experience and beauty, and it was incredible. It's incredibly hard, but it was also incredible to see it through a different perspective. And Yeah, but yeah, for Ari, I do. For every project I write on, I try to bring an authenticity to every character and put myself into those characters' shoes, and then ask people that might be that same age or might have that same background and upbringing, and say, hey, how did it feel when you lost this, or when you were this age and this happened? And for me, when I talked to a friend of mine who was a brother to a younger sister, and I said, what was it like having a sister that was, like 4 years younger than you? Did you ever let her play with you where you're like, get away and this and that? And so it was kind of cool to hear him say, like, no, I liked taking her under my wing and teaching her things. Yeah, she would get annoying sometimes and I'd push her off, but I let her tag along. And I kind of would run with stuff like that, where I had Ari be this tag along little sister who watched him train to become the guardian of winter. So in this world, it's a male given right, where the father and the son carry on the tradition of being the guardian of winter or the guardian of summer, all of the seasons. And so she, of course, would like tag along and watch her brother Flynn train and wield the power of winter and create these winter spheres. And when he disappears, it's like it alters her whole world, of course, and her parents. And when she gets when Yule gets knocked into summer and she intercepts a letter intended for her father saying, hey, the guardians are getting together to figure out why the seasons are reversing, she takes it upon herself to say, hey, I have to go for dad. And it reminds me of Mulan, like, right? Like, you're stepping in for your father who can't go. And she does cut her hair in the game. Sorry, I just gave a spoiler. I'm sorry.
Like, oh my God, I totally ripped off Mulan. I didn't even know. There's a dragon who talks and is voiced by Eddie Murphy. Oh.
Just play the game. You'll watch the movie again. No, just kidding. But for you'll see like kind of nostalgia in that way. But what I really appreciated about, like you said, about the development, being able to work with these really cool developers, was the very friendly, positive environment that was like, how can we brainstorm and blue sky to fit in what we can based on what's already locked? Because there were cutscenes that are already locked. There were, voice actors, things that are locked that you have to work around to still bring the magic, if you will.
Yeah.
But I could keep going. I have quests to talk to you about, my favorite characters, but you go ahead.
Well, we don't want to spoil too much. So the game has been out now. How's that been so far post-launch? What kind of, are you out there reading every single review, or do you obsess over those little details, or do you just try and shut it all off, trust in what you've done as a storyteller?
Well, so the game released on September 1st, and Cory, we talked about this the last few times I've been on the show, that I am quite terrible at all things social media, not because I'm trying to avoid it, but because I legitimately don't think to get on it. I don't remember to get on it. It's not something that's in my routine. So long story short, no, I have not seen it. I haven't been able to watch any of the reviews. I did get on Twitch. I watched a streamer streaming the game.
Oh, that's awesome.
A couple nights ago when I was moving, by the way. This has been moving week for me as well. So I'm in a temporary apartment. There's boxes everywhere. This is all a facade. Everything that looks all nice. You think that this is like, oh, she's ready to go. This is chaos.
You did a very good job. It looks very classy.
Thank you. But my feet are killing me. My back hurts. I'm all out of whack because I've been carrying about 2,000 trips up and down stairs. And, everyone knows how moving is. It's not fun. It's not pretty. But see, Curtis, Taylor, they're shaking their heads. They know.
When you, so even though you're not looking at reviews, you were in the Twitch channel. Did you let the person know who you were, or did you keep it secret and just try and keep the moment organic? Because I would imagine if it was me, I'd just want to flex the whole time. Be like, hey, by the way, I wrote this, by the way. And then, but did you let the person know?
I did see some feedback that they're as many games, it was struggling with some bugs. So I have heard that, there's been some feedback with some problems and things that have glitched or crashed or things like that. But everything that I've heard on the development side is that they're working hard to patch that and fix that. They're listening to all the feedback and trying to get that rectified. So I always cross my fingers and wish that I could help, but I'm not a programmer or a coder. I don't know how to fix those bugs. I want to. I really do. I want to. But alas, all I can do is fix the words, which are already locked, and I can't fix those. So,
wait, can we patch, update a story? I want to change the dad's name because
well, what's cool is working with a team from Europe. I got to meet a lot of cool people with cool names that I asked them if I could not take their names, but use their names in an homage to future works. There were so many cool names that I wrote down that I'd never heard before. I mean, my sister's name is Gwen, and when Sebastian told me that her father's name was Gwen, I was like, okay, all right, well, that's not, I've never heard of that before. But again, I like the opportunity of learning new things and absorbing new characters. So I have a lot of new character names that I can use for future use. But one of the things that I really wanted to talk about and mention is the music of the game. It was incredible Seb would send me snippets of little parts of the game that was ready to go and that was composed, and I wrote to the music of the game. How cool is that, right? And in the other games I've written for, I wasn't able to do that, right? And so I was so appreciative that he even had the thought, hey, do you want to hear this? This part is done, and yeah, send it to me. I'm not going to share it. I'll keep it under wraps. And it was so inspiring because it really helped me write this one quest that. It was a big challenge. When you played the game, you're asked to go visit all of the season golems, and I was writing I think this was the winter. Okay, hold on, summer. Okay, because all the seasons get reversed, so I get mixed up. But the summer golem is this whale, and the Seb really wanted this quest as much as we could, again, for budget reasons and timelines. We can't write a novel. I want to write a novel, right?
Yeah.
But he said, if at all possible, Genese, if you could give this, I want this tone of sadness. And he kind of described from his perspective why he wanted this depth and this perspective behind it. Can you bring that to the table? And it was really difficult to think about trying to get to an emotional point in 20 lines. Think about how you have to establish the setting, the environment, the character, what the character sounds like, what's going on between the two characters, what's at stake, how it's solved or how it's not solved, and how we should feel about it.
Yeah.
It's monumentally hard, right? It's you finish it and you send it in and they're like, it's a little too long. Can you shorten it? You're like, okay. Shorten it. You send it in. Oh, can you shorten it a little bit more? Okay. And so it's a great challenge, but it's a challenge.
Yeah.
I'm trying to bring the gamer a certain feeling, a certain emotion, a certain point where you might pivot or question or be brought to feel something new in a tiny amount of space. So writing The Summer Golem was really cool for me because I was able to listen to that music and try to get to that point sooner and keep it tight, but also get across what Seb really wanted to get across. And I wasn't able to play the final build because I ran out of time and all of that, but I hope it got right to where I had originally wrote it.
I'll be the judge of that because for sure I'll be picking up this game now that I know Genese Davis is part of the credits, just as I did with Omensight as well. I have that one sitting in my Steam library as well.
Yay, thank you. Curtis Taylor, please try it as well. I would love
I've got it up on Steam right now.
Oh, thank you so much. It was a labor of love for sure. Again, I worked with some incredible people, producers Caitlin Capes and Bruce Hales and Alex, additional writer. Her she has a European last name that I can't think of. Again, it was so cool. Working with people from other countries, but my tongue is not, I don't know how to say the cool names in all these languages, but Marcus was amazing. Like I worked with so many really, really great people, and they were all so kind and open-minded, and they just wanted to brainstorm and jam and try to get what we could in the game. And one of Seb's favorite encounters in the game is when you get to Lamestide for the first time. So keep a lookout for the interaction between you and the guard. Okay, so you and the guard when you're outside the gate. When you're inside the City of Spring, when you're inside Ostara, I think a really cute small quest is the sheep quest, so keep a lookout for that one.
Okay.
A lot of people have told me that like when they were testing the game and that the puzzles were really cool because like you expect it to just be as easy as I guess it is in the beginning, but it gets progressively harder, and the puzzles like get pretty like you have to like Zelda, you have to like really keep trying. And a lot of people say it's like it's like a homage to Zelda, and
that's what I've been reading. I've been looking at a lot of the reviews just kind of for the show prep, and a lot of comparisons to Zelda, which gotta be really flattering.
Well, for sure. I mean, Seb, he always told me that he loves making games, and he loves making games that he likes to play, and he loves Zelda, so it was a win-win. But for me too, it was really cool to write the extra stuff in the game for those gamers that want the extra story. You don't have to pick up the Equinox journals. You don't have to read all the landmark tablets. But being a writer, I mean, sorry, I a bias, but I tried to put in as much of the ancient history as I could in those two places because that was kind of the only place that we could fit it in.
Yeah.
So you'll get tidbits of the ancient history through the main quest storyline as you go. Basically, when you take it upon yourself to step into your father's shoes and find the Dome of Seasons and meet up with the Guardians, every time you go back to the Dome of Seasons, talk to all the Guardians. Again, sorry, I was the lead writer, so I'm very biased.
So
but
this seems like a lot of work. Did you have to write every like encounter and engagement between any character? So when we're having like what we see is like in games when you play it, a lot of times you're like, oh, this is kind of like meaningless dialogue. It's just like kind of past filler stuff. But you wrote every single thing from story to side quest to...
I wrote a lot. a lot. I didn't write everything, of course not, right? I had so much help from so many awesome people, but I was the lead writer, so it was on me to write a lot of it. And my wrist can tell you I did write a lot of it. I have wrist for sure from all my jam sessions.
That's exciting. Now I can't wait to play this. I'll be talking to frogs and whatever. Like I'll just be talking to stupid things.
I pulled the whole main story. Like I couldn't, how like programmers, they can work in Excel and they can work in like all these docs and stuff. I can't write like that. So I had to pull it out and like write in a Word document where I could see everything. So when you read the main quest dialogues, that was me pulling out, like when you talk to Luktan, Bryn, and Dagden, those are the three Guardians, and talk to all three of them every time you go to the Dome of Seasons because then you'll get more story. But it was, like I said, it was trying to imagine the whole game as the player. Okay, how can I fit in these details where and without giving away anything, right? Because it's all breadcrumbs. It's like breadcrumbs after breadcrumbs with a limited amount of time. So, but my favorite characters to expand on were I can't because I'll give can we do another podcast after it's been out a while so I can because that you know what I mean?
Yes.
Because everything I say is going to give away some of the spoilers, and that's what's so cool about the story is that it was such a limited resources, but if you do take the time to read all the letters, I call them banned. The quest I named Banned Journal Chaser or something like that, which I thought was really cool because it's like a forbidden investigation and you're not supposed to read these because the ancient historian Algernon the Wise, history is etched into the landmark tablets. So he's like, you read, well, he's not there, he's dead. This is ancient history, but he etched in stone the history, the landmark tablets. And then you have these forbidden letters that say some interesting things that kind of like, well, what makes you question some things? So until we have our podcast where we can have all the spoilers, That's all I can say.
All right. Well, I'm excited now more than ever because I know what you're capable of, and now that I know that this was a Genese Davis joint, that you threw everything you got into this, I can't wait to just get in and start digging through all the story aspects of this game, and then we will definitely come through and talk about it. So thanks for coming. We're going to talk about some other big news from the video game world, so please stick around with us.
Okay,
if you
for
will,
sure. Thank you.
because we got... We'll go ahead.
I was just going to say, did we want to mention the giveaway yet or not yet?
Oh, you're right. We're doing a giveaway.
Okay.
Yeah.
And last thing is, I also have a special surprise for you three. I have a Steam code for you to play Ari.
Hey, let's go. Thank you
Great.
so much.
Now, one for you and one to give away to our listeners.
All
Our
right.
watchers, our
So
viewers.
if you're listening to this on the podcast, I want to give everybody a shot to enjoy this. So if you follow us on Twitter at Video Game Bang, we're going to have a pinned tweet that's going to have the box art, the game art for Ari. You just go on there and you leave a comment. Any kind of comment. You could say whether you enjoyed the show. You could call me a big dumb idiot. You could type whatever you want into those comments, and we will randomly select a winner before the next episode comes out. We'll announce it next week on the show. So
Yay.
do that. Twitter at Video Game Bang. Leave a comment on the pinned tweet, and we will hook it up to some lucky winner. You'll be playing Ari with me, Skip, and Taylor. Thank you, Genese. You're so kind. I can't wait to
Thank
go back and
you.
talk to you about it. It's really exciting to see what you keep doing. One question before we move on, though. So now you've done your novel. You've gotten a couple games under your belt. Where is the future for Genese? You already have it locked in, or are you open for offers? What are you hoping to do now?
Oh, as a contract writer, I'm always open for offers, of course, number one.
Because I got a memoir I've been trying to write, and I need a ghostwriter. So I mean,
I'm there.
if you're down,
I am there. Absolutely. I could be your writer, ghostwriter, editor. I am working on another game. So I'm writing away in
let's
another.
go.
Yes. I'm very excited. I don't know if I could mention it or not. How about we mention the next one?
Next one.
Next podcast, I'll reveal
Clear
that.
your NDAs and all that. Make sure we're all
Yeah,
clear.
I'll go.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm also writing novels for movie companies here in LA. Big meetings, like we were talking about.
Okay.
I'm bringing the backing now. I'm much bolder than I was 5 years ago.
That's hard to believe. I don't know how you can get much more bold.
Well,
This is Genese Davis, the airplane driving, horse riding.
But in meetings, I get shy. I clam up a little bit. It's hard. It's hard to be in a meeting full of people and be on the spot. I'm sweating right now just being with you guys.
No, stop it. Real life Wonder Woman on our show right now does not get nervous.
You're so sweet. But I'm gonna be on Wizard World TV on Saturday the 19th with Sebastian Latouze.
Okay, Wizard World TV. See, that's what I've been curious, because you had a sweet gig. You were traveling all over the world with Wizard World, and with COVID, they've been switching to like an online
The world
format.
exploded.
What's that?
I mean, what is the world? There's no more. There's no more conventions. Yeah, it's crazy. They had to completely, obviously, right? They had to completely pivot. But Wizard World is doing all like Wizard TV, and it's really cool. It's really cool. They have tons of free content. Like on Saturday, it'll be Seb and I on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Can I plug that? Is that okay if I say that?
No, I'll go back through and edit this out, so don't worry.
Come on, shameless plug. But it's gonna be really cool because you can hear it, because again, I get nervous and I, like, what was I saying again? But it's cool because Seb and I can go back and forth, right? Like we can pass the ball and be like, oh, and what was that you thought of or did? And we can talk about that. And it's cool because they are going, like, they do. Isn't that cool?
Look at that.
They do like physical signings via Zoom. So like you can, get on with your favorite video game developer or your favorite author, artist, celebrity, movie star, and they'll sign a copy of whatever for you and mail it to you like COVID style, right? So you're still meeting and greeting with your, your creatives that you admire or appreciate. And I'm just so excited to hold these. I just want to hold them up for you. But yeah, so they totally did an awesome job, right? They pivoted from in-person conventions to all online Wizard TV, and they do special events, they do special signings, they do special one-on-ones. Now I feel like I'm working for Wizard World again. I'm just plugging Wizard World.
I'm genuinely, I've been curious on how it works because I've seen like advertisements still on Facebook. They still hit me pretty hard with those, and I had no idea the format on how these online things work, and if people are like, how many people are watching these?
Well, now you're asking me questions I don't know. But I don't know. Knowing, I think they have a pretty good viewing. I think.
I would assume.
I mean, it's all subjective, right? I mean, to some people, 100 views is great. To other people, it's like you need 1 million views.
Oh, on Video Game Bang, we only expect thousands and thousands of views. So if it's less than that, I mean, Bush League.
But you're right. I loved my job with Wizard World. That was awesome. I traveled the country with them, and I did panels for them and video game features, and it was a blast. But I mean, now I don't even know what sunshine is. I haven't been outside in 2 weeks. Have I even showered? I don't know. It's crazy.
Oh man. Well, we got some video game news to talk about, and this could go directly to Ari because this came out on the current generations, but we're looking at a new generation of consoles right now. We've been wondering where the hell the prices are for the new consoles, and we finally got it for the Xbox. Not because they wanted to give it to us, but I guess it ended up leaking. Taylor, do you have like the details on what happened, how this thing leaked and got officially announced? Because it announced at like midnight.
Yeah. So it was a pretty late in the evening leak. That the Xbox Series S, which was a horribly kept secret,
was it? I had no idea what this thing was.
Yeah, so maybe a little over a month ago, when the controller leaked, the white controller leaked, it said on the box Xbox Series S/X.
Oh.
So, like, people have known that this console was coming, but didn't really know much about it, whether it was just a discless version like like Sony did with the PlayStation 5 or like really what was going on, even though there had been rumors and rumblings about something called Project Lockhart for quite a while now, almost a year, I guess. So they showed off the console. It is a significantly smaller console.
Yeah, because the one we've seen before, the one we've seen before, they call them the mini fridge because it's massive. It's a giant rectangle. And then this thing's a lot smaller, but looks like a Bluetooth speaker or something.
Yeah, it's much smaller. So it got leaked, and within, I think, 2 hours, the social media team for Xbox just handled it masterfully. They just posted a meme of that. What is it? A monkey with like the side eye, like.
Oh yeah, like the puppet monkey. Yeah.
And then 2 hours after that, they had the official announcement with like a video and everything, and just perfectly handled this leak. That so much that a lot of the people I talked to about it, about whether they had seen it or whatever, had only seen the official announcement stuff and hadn't seen any of the leak information because Microsoft responded so quickly.
That's smart.
So it was a masterclass in social media management.
Wow.
So give us this thing is significantly less powerful than the Xbox we already know about. It's got no disk drive, but that's not the end of the differences. Tell us about that.
Right. So as far as the less powerful side goes, it's 1/3 the power of the Series X, which sounds absolutely terrifying. It's like, oh, this thing won't play games very well, or the resolution will suck. The expectation, what they're saying is it's still going to do like 1080p, 120 hertz. It will still support 1440p, although I'm not totally sure what frame rate they're expecting there. I'm certainly north of 60 frames per second, so your average television is not going to struggle. Or it'll look fine on your average television. The storage is half the space, so it's 512 gigabytes of storage, which I think is a big concern.
That's not a lot these days, right? Because Call of Duty just had a patch that was like 100 gigabytes.
Right. Well, fortunately, they're replacing files when they have most of these patches, but it's still over 200 gigabytes.
Oh no, did we lose him? So, oh, he's back.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry, having internet issues.
He's actually streaming and running this whole thing off of his phone internet right now. Is that right?
Yeah. This is brutal. It's I'm tethered. Yeah, so 200 gigabytes is pretty significant, especially when you expect the operating system, any other apps that come with that to take up some space. I can't imagine you'll fit too many games on this Series S, at least the way it comes in the box. However, I believe Microsoft has partnered with Seagate for their storage stuff, and supposedly the Series S will also support that expansion, that 1 terabyte expansion.
I think we lost him again. 2020 technical difficulties. Curtis, have you seen the new console details? Are you excited about this? I mean, I don't think you were jumping at the bit to get one anyways, but now that there's a cheaper option, any interest from you?
Yeah, I like the fact that, for someone who's not extremely interested in Xbox, that there is an option for me should a game come out that, isn't available on PlayStation or, obviously Switch, that, there'll be a more affordable option. Definitely, if I was going that route, we understood that the Series X was kind of overkill with the, the ability to do, 4K at, I guess 120 FPS and all that stuff. I mean, actually, I guess up to 8K, they said. So for me, if I was going to grab an Xbox, I would need anything, more than 1080p, up to 120, really just at 60. I just think the accessibility and the fact that I guess this one was one that doesn't have the disk drive on it as well. If that's correct, Taylor, you can fact check me. Okay, I'm getting the nod.
Yeah, correct.
So, for all of those things, if someone's just if you've got some solid internet where you're at and you just want to get some games, I mean, obviously all the additions to Game Pass are stellar. I think it's a really accessible option for people to who just want to get straight to games and, don't necessarily have, the gaming theater like someone like Cory or Taylor may have, that would, kind of require the abilities of the Series X. I think it's a smart option on Microsoft's part.
And for a parent, right? I mean, you can just buy a cheaper option for your kids, if you don't need all of the bells and whistles. People still buy Xbox 360s, right? And and look at the Switch. And look at the Switch, right? The Switch doesn't have the highest resolution, and it's so popular. In fact, there's so many of my friends that are like, I can't get my hands on the Switch. They're sold out. Why can't I get a Switch? Like it's crazy.
They're like, Ari just came out, and I can't get a Switch to play my game. Damn. Genese, what's your rule with Cory? Because I follow, we're friends. We've evolved past just like Twitter associates. We're Facebook friends, so I get to see the life updates, and I feel like I've gotten to watch Cora bloom into an eloquent 5-year-old. Do you have like video game rules, a certain set time, screen time? Does she even show interest in those?
When she turned 5, it really turned to video games. Like, she found her stride when it came to video games. Before that, she didn't have an interest, but now she plays Ari on the PC with the Xbox controller.
What?
And yes,
a PC gamer?
Yeah, and she plays Star Citizen on the PC. Like, straight up flying ships, going to planets. No loading time, so she can just look up at a planet, fly up, go down sideways, and she goes, can we play the spaceship game? I go, yeah. What do you want to do? She goes, I want a red spaceship. I want a blue spaceship. I want a big spaceship. So we go through all the spaceships, whatever spaceships we can find for her. But yeah, she totally. But she does like the Switch. She plays Minecraft on the Switch. She plays Zelda. But she prefers usually the Xbox because we can have it on the TV and have a bigger screen. But it's kind of cool to hear her. She played for the first time with her friend Piper, and to hear them talk to each other over the headset, their little tiny voices, and wait for me, wait, come back, wait, I want that cat. Can you help me get that? Like, it was so cute.
She's already got clear comms. That's incredible.
Oh my, she's on it. She's
what
on it.
An elite pro. I'm excited. I'm proud of her. I mean, you did name her kind of after me, right? Sorta, a little bit. Cora,
of course.
Cory. Yeah, see,
I
knew
mean, Cory inspired Cora. I mean, it's just like a letter off. But yeah, I don't really, we're a very flexible, laid back family. We do not have a routine. We don't have rules. See, this is why I forget about social media, and I forget to get on and read reviews and read the news, because I'm a very person to person, face to face, eye contact. Like that's me. Like, I love the spiritual feeling of energy, togetherness. And when I get online, I feel strange, like I get drained, and it's just I don't know, it's not appealing for some reason. I'm not drawn to post or to read or to go through feeds. It's not in my personality, but I know I have to, because my publishers and my editors and my developers gotta get on, get Twitter, Facebook, come on. So I made a Twitch account finally. Oh, and I forgot to answer your question. When you asked me, did I reveal who I was? I forgot to answer.
Please,
so,
you left me on a cliffhanger.
Sorry, at first, of course I did not. Again, you don't believe me, but I am bashful. I am a practiced extrovert, but on the inside, I am like an introvert, right? Bashful. But I force myself, again, because you have a team of people that are your team, and they're like, hey, you got to get out there. You do the book signings, you do this, you get on the panels, and you can't let them down. So I got to post more. I got to tweet. I'm getting better. Read some of my tweets this week. I'm getting better, right?
Yeah.
I went from radio silence, I hadn't posted in like 8 months, to I'm posting every day. I'm posting.
Like I said, when I saw the email come to my inbox from Genese Davis, I said, the beast has awoken. I don't know where she was, but she's back.
Exactly. I mean, I was definitely in quarantine mode with no, but anyway, so I did finally reveal myself. I did.
Like Batman.
Good.
Lifted up the mask and said, I'm here.
Because they were talking about some lines. They were talking about something of the story, and I couldn't resist. I had to tell them. I had to say, well, like, and they're like, well, how do you know? Like, I'm the lead writer. And I did say lead writer, because I'm so proud of myself. I was like, okay, I got it. And they're like, whoa, you wrote this game? I was like, well, not alone, but I did write the majority of it.
Dang.
But it was awesome.
That's an awesome feeling. And that's so cool that you got to do that. You got to experience
Corey,
it through the stream.
I feel like it was the taste of like back in the day, when I was better at tweeting back in 2013, I posted about like a Diablo 2 launch or one of the World of Warcraft launches. I was at some live event, and I was watching all the developers sign and stuff. That Twitch stream where I was talking to that streamer was like my signing. That was my COVID signing. I got to talk to the fan and talk about the lines that I was writing.
What have you been playing lately? I don't think we've caught up since the Warcraft vanilla stuff started coming out. And I remember you were like a highly ranked World of Warcraft player. Did you get back onto the drug when it came back out?
I was top ranked, man. I got server firsts, and I got top DPS rankings. That was a long time ago. I miss those days. But I just watched the trailers for the new World of Warcraft. What is it called? Afterlives or After Death? Or
the game is Shadowlands.
Shadowlands.
They have like a story, like an animated comic story. I think it's called Afterlives.
Okay, I just watched that. Taylor, I just watched that. And it got me goosebumped, and I want to go back and play now. It's
super cool.
It looks super cool. So my plan is that over the winter break, I'm going to break out one of my World of Warcraft cards. Yes, I still have them from back in the day when I had my game cards like, woo. So I'm going to break out one of my year cards, and I'm going to activate, and we're going to play World of Warcraft for winter break. That's my plan.
From the GameStop days, I remember those. Are those still a thing? Can you still walk into a store and buy like Warcraft time cards? Or do you have to do it all like modern age through your credit card and stuff?
I don't know. Mine are like 8 years old. So
see, that's about the time I was working at GameStop. And that's the most I felt like a drug dealer. Like
Yeah.
when the pasty guys would come in, you'd know who they were from a mile away. You'd be like, oh, this
But
guy wants Warcraft cards for sure. And
yeah.
he'd come up scratching his arm and stuff, needing his fix, and then you'd sell him his cards. Those are the good
But
times.
that's it. I've just been playing Ari, Star Citizen, Zelda, a little bit of Call of Duty, but I only play Call of Duty with the bots because I don't want to let anybody down. And so when I'm on a team and when I don't, get enough kills or I get killed a lot, I get really nervous. I start sweating because everyone's like, oh, and I'm like, oh, and I can't do it. And I think that's it. Oh, Minecraft with Cora.
Okay.
I play that with her. Yeah, that's it.
So we always just follow down these crazy rabbit holes. But to the consoles thing, I got one last question for Taylor now that he's back. So money is limited resource here, especially in 2020.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And they just dropped those NVIDIA cards, which I don't think we've had a chance to talk with you about, but we talked about them last week, and they're very souped up and very cheap, about the price of a console. So what should I buy? This has just turned into a consultation for me personally.
That's great. Yeah, if you're price conscious, I would highly recommend going the console route.
Really?
Absolutely. It's always your best bang for your buck if you care about graphics. Sure, you could go and spend $1,500 on a RTX 3090 graphics card, but then you still need, another, probably $700 or $800 just for the rest of the PC. And then you have the price of all the games on top of that. Whereas you could very comfortably, drop the $300 on the new Xbox Series S, and then, buy the game for $60 or $70, depending on what company it's from. And you're probably enjoying the game and seeing pretty similar graphics for significantly less investment. Genese said it earlier. It's so much better for parents to have these like less expensive options. I'm impressed that it was $300 and that it is as powerful as it is. I was expecting a lesser console to have like really, really like poor performance, but still be that low price point.
So you weren't expecting that many teraflops?
Sure, we'll go with that. Yeah.
I only know teraflops, dude. If you don't got enough teraflops, I don't mess with it.
Yeah.
The last thing,
teraflops it's a whatever metric. It's hard to compare older hardware to newer hardware by teraflops.
I was okay, kind of indifferent to the prices. They're pretty much in line with what I expected. The news that I think people aren't giving enough attention to was the deal that Microsoft just struck with EA. So before we knew that the Xbox Game Pass, which by right now is the best deal in video games, $15 a month, easily. You get basically gold and unlimited access to an insane library of games. And by next week, it's going to have access to the xCloud. I cannot believe it. This is Netflix for video games on a level we've never seen, because you don't need a console. You could use your cell phone and be playing Call of Duty, well, not Call of Duty because it's a different publisher, but you know what I'm saying. You could play Halo, or you could play like really full-fledged games on your freaking cell phone. Like, this is the future, and it's $14 a month. Like, that's nuts.
Yeah.
And on top of that, already being the best deal in gaming, they just cut a deal with EA to now they're going to have most of the EA library. So if you have this $15 Game Pass, you're going to have access to the Maddens, well, you don't get NBA 2K. Sorry, Curtis. But if you want to take a huge downgrade and play NBA Live, I'm sure they'll have that on there. But that's crazy value. I'm so stoked and hope that this is a sign of things to come. I would love to see that this is the first part of the Infinity Gauntlet that Microsoft has right now. The Gauntlet is the Games Pass. The first stone was all their Microsoft Studios. Second stone, EA. Next stone, who knows? But I think the last one is going to be, they got to cut some nutty deal with PlayStation and get access to that and get on there. And that will seal them as like the true, we're not a console company. We're just like an entertainment software like distributor almost.
Yeah, everything they're doing suggests that they want to move into being a platform, and then the consoles themselves are just kind of the vehicle for delivering that experience. xCloud is a great, I'm glad you brought it up. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're just wanting to play on Xbox, it's like $5 or $6 a month. It's even cheaper.
Yeah.
And $300 for the console. So I'll back up a little bit. When I was a kid, my parents always struggled to figure out what games to buy when they did buy a new console, because they always come out at holiday, for the most part.
Yeah.
So they just had no idea what games to buy. So they would maybe get one game, and it was hit and miss with their selection.
Yeah.
With things like xCloud, you really like solve a lot of the problems of a holiday launch. Like the two big ones. What the heck games do I buy my kids if I don't know what games they enjoy? Doesn't matter. You pay the $5 or $15 and you have access to this huge library of games, and not old games. They're like
brand
current
new
games.
Yeah.
The other problem, if any of you have ever gotten a console for Christmas, at least in the digital age, the update on Christmas Day for any console is the worst experience ever. Like, the kid gets super excited. They've got this great console. They plug it in. It's like, okay, it needs to update. Sure, I'll update it. Oh, 8 hours later, because everybody on the planet is currently updating their console, like they're finally able to play.
That's what drove me away from video games. I cannot stand putting a game. I tried to play Halo with David Webb like 2 weeks ago, and we were like, all right, bro time. Let's bro down. We're right. We haven't played games in months. Let's do this, homie. Oh, shit. 100 gigabyte update. Well, see you tomorrow. We ended up having to postpone our bro night like by a whole day because of the stupid update.
Huge problem. So, xCloud really solves that problem because you don't have to install anything. It just streams the game.
Yeah.
So I think Microsoft is making the best moves in the game industry right now.
Yeah.
It's time to take the plunge. Show the next generation what they want.
Exactly. Yep. Let's show them. Thanks so much for listening this week to the show. And thank you double to Genese Davis for hitting me up on the old email machine and setting up this. And then we're going to play Ari, and then we're going to call you back and then go through in excruciating detail every single decision that you made and why.
I'm going to take notes.
And I'll be looking in I'm going to read every single book of every single story to see if there's a character that I feel like was based off of me. And then if so, I will chase you down for infringement if I didn't get a cut.
You threw me. I was ready for you're gonna hunt me down and give me a high five because I made you immortal and put you in a game forever.
If there's one handsomely attractive bearded man wielding Viking powers, I'm coming after you. And no, I'm just kidding.
I love it. We have to do a spoiler edition where everything, right, reveals.
100%.
We can talk, no bars. Like, everybody that's listening understands. I can just say it all.
Yep. Everybody who listens to the show will have played the game to completion by the time that happens. I will chase them down. I know their IP addresses because it gives that to me when they download the episodes. So Curtis and Taylor and myself are going to chase everybody down and make sure it happens. So Genese, where can people actually find the game and find out more about your future projects?
Thank you. I'm excited to share. Can I say one last thing about the game?
Yeah.
Play through the credits, because Ben Diskin was one of the voice actors. He's an amazing voice actor, and he improv'd a bunch of really cool lines that Seb fit in the credits. So play all the way through, watch the credits, are really funny.
Okay.
And you can find the games. Let me hear. Okay, here we go. Can I do this again? Can I do this again?
100%.
You can find the game on Xbox, PlayStation, Switch. I don't have the PC one, but PC too.
PC people don't care about box art. You're good.
And you can, it's out now. It came out September 1st. You can find me at JaneseDavis.com, but everybody thinks my name starts with a J because it sounds like a J, but it's a G.
Yes.
And I am on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram technically, but am I really on them? Not very often, but I'm working on it. I'm getting better.
Okay.
And was that all that you asked me? See, I got flustered again and I can't remember.
Anything you want to promote. Star Citizen. You can talk about anything you want.
I'm playing Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy. I forgot that one.
Okay.
That's an oldie but a goodie. And yeah, what's coming up? We're going to talk about the next games I'm working on the next time we talk.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about the novels. We're going to talk about ghostwriting for you. So I'll be talking about the NDA you're sending me because you don't want things leaked.
There's some dark stuff. If we're going through, I've been wanting someone to help me write my biography. Get ready, world.
Okay, send me your NDA. What I can't talk about.
I actually lied. Genese, I'm going to need you to embellish a lot of stuff if we're going to make my life story interesting.
Also, I forgot to mention my podcast. Can I give a shout out to the Storyteller Chatcast?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, Seb. I just had Sebastian Latouze, the director of the game, the CEO of Exon Games, on my podcast. We did an awesome story deep dive last week that was published, and we definitely, like we said on here, there's a lot more that we couldn't say because Seb and I worked hard to put some breadcrumbs in the game that lead you to all these different directions. And so please give it a listen. The Storyteller Chatcast Part 1 with Seb.
Oh, so this is your first episode, or was it the first part of a two-part? Because
it was like a first part. Seb and I ran out of time, so our second RA 2.0 will come out next month after people have a chance to play it. And again, I did have a break. Once the world ended, so did many of our endeavors, right? So my podcast had a long break. My blog had a long break. Yeah. my social media had a long break. But I'm the beast has awoken. Here I am.
We're in the age of like mental health and taking care of yourself, so you got to. It's so toxic to be surrounded by the social media all the time. It's actually an issue that's been coming up a lot, just especially in the esports scene, because we just got out of the busy season and there's all these world grand finals, championships, and everybody's running themselves ragged. And it's like one of those situations where as soon as grand finals is over, everyone's just gonna delete everything off their phones and just like recover, because you seriously need a detox from all that technology. So I'm glad you got a chance to do that, and I'm excited that you're back in the digital world to the extent you're comfortable. And then
absolutely,
I'm
happy to be back, and I can't wait to hear what you all think of the game, and I really appreciate having me on. It's always a blast being up and catching up with you. Thank you.
Oh, shucks. Curtis, what you been working on, man? NBA playoffs going on, but unfortunately, I'm sorry to keep rubbing salt in the wound, but the Kings suck. I'm sorry, man. Every time, gosh. Curtis, I'm sorry. But NBA is cool still. You still get to watch some games, even though they're not our team's games. 2K's out, but you don't have it yet. Are you going to get 2K so at least you can bring the Kings to the championship?
Playoffs have been pretty interesting. Some of the greatest playoff games I've actually ever seen. So that's good. And I don't have the game yet. Of course, my two people that I play with the most, they already have it, and I'm getting text messages every day that I need to get it so I can get in there and play with them. But other than that, I've been playing a bunch of other games on my Switch, Resident Evil Revelations, and a bunch of Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, still grinding on that. So, and I've been streaming it too. So if you guys check me out at twitch.tv/Skipatosh, I'll be on there. We can talk about it.
I'm excited for that, man. And what about you, Taylor? What you working on?
Oh man, the usual. Still working on Arsenal and stuff for Lightstream, but I played New World, the MMO that's coming out by Amazon. It was up for 10 days. I put 138 hours into it.
God.
I didn't sleep.
Wow.
I absolutely loved it, and now I'm back on like an MMO kick. So I'm playing, now that it's down, I'm playing Star Wars The Old Republic again, which I absolutely adore.
I have been playing nothing but Tony Hawk Pro Skater, the remake, and it's definitely kickstarted an old, repressed, crippling addiction to ska and punk music that I'd let die within me. This soundtrack is even the newer songs are really good. It's just been a fantastic game. One thing that it really brought to light is how much the D-pad on an Xbox is complete garbage. I played Tony Hawk on the Xbox controller for like a day and a half, and my hand just had pain. Like my thumb was getting calloused. I switched back to a PlayStation controller and life is good again. So just a pro tip, if you're playing Tony Hawk and you're not using a PlayStation controller, I don't know what to tell you except just to get a PlayStation controller. It'll help you in the long run. That's our show. Thank you so much, Genese Davis. Thank you, Curtis and Taylor, for being here as always. My name is Cory saying, you've just been banged.